On this episode of the Sacred Playgrounds podcast, we are talking leading parents to action. We've got 3 key actions that we want them to take, and especially, maybe most importantly, 5 strategies, each with a really clear action step to lead those parents to the actions that we want them to take. Welcome to the Sacred Playgrounds podcast. We're behind the mic and behind the research, turning insights into impact and numbers into North Stars for camping ministries and the intrepid leaders that serve them. Each episode blends thoughtful theology, compelling data, and actionable wisdom, all to help camps thrive today, tomorrow, and for years to come. I'm your host and producer, Jared Rendell, Director of Innovation and Communication for Sacred Playgrounds. Joining me is Director and Lead Researcher, Jake Sorensen, a PhD-level scholar, experienced ministry practitioner, and the founder of Sacred Playground. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode, the support button to help make these episodes happen, and connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Sacred Playgrounds, and always at sacredplaygrounds.com. Explore with us what God might have in store at your Sacred Playground. Welcome to the playground, everyone, and welcome back to the playground, Jake.
Yeah,
you didn't get to be on the last one. Sorry, man.
I didn't, but I got to kind of be in the room or adjacent to and be present with all those amazing camp leaders that we got to hear from last time. It was really fun to listen back to that episode after we got through the Campwell training and how many of those themes that they were talking about came up. And so it was a real treat.
Yeah.
And always special to
Totally
be in person with some of our camp leaders.
Yeah, so in case you missed it, in case you missed that last episode, our last episode that brought in 5 voices kind of from the field, talking about, we were talking about summer staff and skill sets that they build in particular as they wrap up recruiting, even start thinking about future years. We got to hear from folks. And since we were in person with camp leaders, we always like to take a chance to turn the mic on and do that. And so listen back to that episode. We were doing that while we were live together at Campwell X Sacred Playgrounds, our training event that we did with the Alliance for Camp Health, which was incredible. Recap article is just dropping here. Well, the same day we're recording this, actually, on that. So make sure you give that a read. It was a great time. We'll have more opportunities related to Campwell coming up. So stay tuned.
Absolutely.
How, Jake, how is your crew? How's your family? How are the boys?
Thanks for asking. Actually, we got I was just, thinking about this. We got a call last night and it was like 10:30, we're ready for bed, ready for lights out. And our oldest called, the phone rings. We're like, uh-oh, what's up? And he said, Mom, I was looking at flights and wondering if I could come home for spring break because he wasn't planning on coming home. And now he's coming home. So I'm really excited. And so it was a nice phone call to get, that, all right, the kid wants to come home. That's great. And so we've got both of our boys coming home for spring break. And so actually, as you're listening to this episode, I'm probably hanging out with my 2 boys coming home from college. And one's coming home on the train, one's coming home on a plane. And hopefully they get here safely and we get to spend some time together. So it's as those of you who have kids that have flown the nest or been boomeranged back, no, it's just it's such a joy and privilege to watch your children grow up and to see some of the things that they get excited about, and just so proud of them. And really, I'm giddy excited about having them home. So
you are, I can tell.
Really excited about that. Yep. How about you? How's the crew?
Good. We are it's the season. As the seasons change, it also means the seasons change kind of for them, and so they are like baseball's starting soon, and some other of the spring kind of sport things, and they're each doing something different, and so lots of chauffeuring. I'm hoping to coach baseball again, and then we were just thinking about this last night because there was a fundraiser for camp this summer that at our church last night at our service, and so they're thinking about camp, like we're hawking discount cards and butter braids and all of these things to try to, because Because right, we know the numbers. When you're signing up 3 kids for but what'll end up being 4, camp trips, that stacks up.
Yeah, it
So
can.
game on all the fundraisers here too, but they're well overall. Yeah.
So those are fundraisers for your church that are giving discounts. Is that what it is?
Yeah, discounts for attending church. No, yeah, it's like a discount card thing, like a local business discount card. But the churches, thankfully, right, our church is great about, hey, we know that these camps and trips can get there, so the staff gives some energy to organizing a lot of fundraising opportunities.
That's great.
So there are a
It's
bunch
great
of
to
those going.
hear,
It's really
so many
helpful.
churches give discounts or scholarships for kids to attend camp, and so it's wonderful to work through those types of organizations and develop those partnerships.
Amen. It is also good. It's part of maybe even where the question came from to. And like we both had, and we had this in episode last season where our wives came on and they were wearing these different hats. We get to do that too, right? Like we're camp
Yeah,
people and camp professionals. We're also parents, and that is a hat we wear a lot.
it's my
So we're
favorite
thinking a
hat.
lot about parents. It's my favorite hat. It's my favorite hat. No, I'm with you. So here's the plan, everybody. We're thinking about parents, and we're at this time right now. Like we're in the middle of March here as we're recording this, and it's this time in the camp season when yes, like registration has likely been open for most of us for probably a while even, but we are still hoping for more campers. Right, your camp registration is not done right now, and your hope to connect with campers, maybe even a few more staff, is still there, right? We're still in the midst of all of these people, all these different audiences connecting to us. All of these relationships is just these things are plugging in, they're connecting, they're connecting, they're connecting. We have these actions that we want these parents to take. A lot of the things
Hmm.
we're doing, a lot of the energy that we are giving is really actually about this. We've talked about parents are this key constituent.
Yeah, number one, right? They're our number one constituent. They're the people that are paying the fee. They're getting the product back when we send them their children home at the end of the week or at the end of the session. They're our number one constituent. Absolutely.
So that means that we are always trying to lead that key constituent to some key actions.
Yes.
So that's where we're going to start. So we're going to talk about what these key actions are, and they come down to three key things. And then we're going to move into talking about, we've got 5 of them for you today. 5 key strategies, and then an action that you can take to help implement that strategy, which is designed to lead those parents to the actions that you want them to take. This is what we want. This is what energy is for. We want them to take a step, to take an action. Jake, let's start by talking about those actions that we are hoping that they will take. So we're even going to actually use this because it's right on point. We're going to use this as our quick game question.
Quick game question.
So here's our quick camp question, right? As a parent, as a camp professional, let's talk about 3 key actions that we want parents to take.
The 3 key actions that we want parents to take. We're going to go with 3 R's just because that's an easy way to remember these. We want them to register, we want them to recruit, and we want to retain them. And so these are the 4 R's that we're going to go with these actions. What do we want these parents to do? One, we want them to register their camper for camp. Some of them have already registered, and we want to retain them both this summer. We want them to actually show up and with their kid and drop their kid off, and we want to retain them for next summer. So we're actually not only recruiting for this summer, we're recruiting those parents that have already signed up for summer 2027. So we're recruiting and we're retaining, and we want them to register.
Yeah, and we want them.
So it's all 3
yeah.
of those things. Yep.
So we get focused on the one, right? We get focused on this, and that's part of why we're even doing this. So we get focused on this one, and of course, it's really important to hit that register button, right?
Hit
we
the
focus
register
on
button.
That. Feels like all our energy is on that. We want them to, and yes, of course, that is a key action right now that you want parents to take, that you're asking them to take, that you are writing communications with action-based language to get them to take. So of course we want them to click register. But I think that was a key point that you just made. So I'm gonna say it again. Like the idea that retention starts the moment retention for future years starts the moment they hit register for this year. right? And
Yes.
even really before, because the point of it is less transactional and more relational and more experiential. That's part of the point. We'll get there at the end again, right? When you give them a good experience on the way in, not just for sake of this one register moment, and then from the moment they do take that key action, retention starts for the next time.
Absolutely.
Right? Because
Yes.
the quality of the experience that you give them, the quality of the experience, we know that is true for campers in the summer. Quality makes all the difference. Quality of program makes all the difference. It's here. It starts here, especially for these parents. So retaining them starts right now. That's a key thing to think of.
Absolutely. So, I mean, here's the thing. Retention is your best recruitment strategy. Let me say that again.
Right.
Retention is your best recruitment strategy. You don't want to go out and have to introduce yourself to 100% of your camper parents. And you don't have to, because you're already developing these relationships over time. And so continuing these relationships is so important to retain the families that you have and to respond well to them, to treat them well, to really develop a partnership and a relationship with those folks is incredibly important, because it will get them to come back and to register, right? That first R. And it will also get them to do the second R, which is what we want them to do as well. We want them to tell other people about how great your camp is and how they want their kid to go with your kid. And so they can do the recruiting for you. That's one of your best strategies for recruiting new people, is not going up and introducing yourself to people on the street who have never met you before, but they have a trusted relationship with another parent, and that parent is recruiting them. Jared, you just said baseball season's coming, right? It's right here. People are starting, and track season is here as well. That means that parents are going to be sitting next to each other in the bleachers, and we want them talking about what's going on this summer. What are their plans for this summer? What trips are they going on? And we want that parent who's your champion
Enthusiast,
to say,
right?
Your
To use that
enthusiast.
term.
Yes, exactly. My kid's going to camp, and we're so excited. That was the first thing that we put on the schedule, because we want to make sure that that camp week is number one. And then we plan our vacations and everything else around that, because camp is that important to us. And they say, wow, tell me about that camp. We've been looking for a camp. We're not sure which camp we should attend. That's the conversation that you want them to have. And so those three actions that we're talking about: register right now, recruit other people. We want them to be your recruiters, and we want to retain them. Register, recruit, retain. Those are the three actions we want our parents to take.
Thanks, Jake. All right, if those are our three actions,
okay,
it begs the question, my friend, how do we get there? Like, listeners, we know, I mean, you're thinking about this. You're wondering about these ideas, and sometimes it just helps to crystallize and clarify, and maybe we'll bring up something that might stretch you or make you think of something you hadn't thought of. So if those are our three key actions that we want them to take, how do we get there? We're going to talk through now. We're going to do them in nice, clear sections here. We're going to talk through 5 strategies. We have 5 strategies for you. Each of these strategies is backed by insights that that we've collected, seen, experienced together. And then we're going to give you a clear action step that can help you implement that strategy. There will be other action steps, but based on what we heard, and we've got a few ideas from other good friends of ours that speak to those strategies in particular. So you're going to get a strategy, you're going to get a data point to back it up, you're going to get a clear action step and some other commentary around there. That's the plan.
Absolutely.
Are you ready, Jake?
Do these things, you guys, and you will increase your retention. You will increase your registration. So that's what we want to help you guys succeed.
Recruitment.
That's the point. You can do these things right now. So let's dive in.
Here we go. Number 1. Strategy number 1 is this: lead with character. Strategy number 1 is lead with character. Jake, why? Well, we put this number 1. We put this both as strategy number 1 because it is number 1 from a parent's perspective, right?
Yes, it is. So we do these parent surveys every year. And last summer, we heard from more than 3,000 camper parents from Christian camps all across the country, dozens of Christian camps. And the number 1 most important goal of camp, according to these parents on average, was strengthening character traits like integrity and self-confidence. Strengthening character was number 1 on average in terms of when we say, how important are these as goals of camp? Growing in faith, spending time in nature, meeting new friends, having fun. Character ends up as number 1 overall. on average. And it's 96% of parents rate growth in character as very or extremely important. Okay, so that's one of those stats to help you get a sense of how many are talking about something like this. Close behind those things, character is fun. So character and fun, sometimes those are flipped depending on the camp, but on average, character is number one and fun is number two. And then you get like making friends and growing in faith. I'm a little farther down the list. So when we say lead with character, we mean talk in your marketing materials and in your promotional things and in your program priorities and philosophy about character and how your camp can strengthen some of those character traits. Be specific about the character traits that you are really emphasizing this summer. So if it's leadership, emphasize things like integrity, self-confidence, self-esteem, like these sorts of character traits that parents really want for their kids are the things that you should lead with. So when you're talking about the why of camp, and we have some of these materials when we say why camp, why should we sign up for camp, why camp and not these other things? Parents have so many options these days, so many opportunities, and a lot of them are really great opportunities. We want them to say yes to camp because we believe and we know from our research and from the experiences that we've had, the stories that we've shared, we know that camp can have an incredible impact, life-changing impact on these campers and their families. We want more people to have that impact and to come to camp and to experience it because camp is a unique space. And in this unique space, what do we do? It takes you a long time to explain the long list of things that camp does and how it does it. I know I can be very verbose a lot of times. So be succinct, be clear, lead with character. There's all these other things that we could talk about.
Mhm.
But when we know that this is, on average, parents' number one priority for the camp experience, this is why they're saying yes to it. It's not because, they're gonna get on the travel soccer team or they're gonna get the scholarship, or there's other reasons that they're signing them up for summer school and sports and these other things, right? They're signing up for camp because of character. Okay? Number one thing.
So Jake already mentioned it, but just to be crystal about it, your action step here is to add character development language to every communications piece going forward. Right?
Yes.
Especially those focused on these actions, registration, recruitment. Add character development, character formation language to all of these communication pieces that you are saying.
Yes.
That's what we need to do.
How do we build teamwork at camp? This is how. How do we build leadership skills? This is how. Right? So you're talking about your programs and the specifics, and then say this leads to self-confidence. This leads to greater integrity. We talk about the why. They're trusting you, and they're thinking about character in specific because you're a Christian camp. So some of these parents really want their kid to grow in faith, and some of them trust you because you're a faith-based camp to really emphasize character in a way that's meaningful, and they want that for their kid. They're also trusting your camp because it's unplugged. It's a space where they're away from this technology, and they see that as a character building environment.
Mm-hmm.
When they're not in front of their computer screen and they're learning in a new way. And so you can emphasize some of these really important pieces of camp, but do it through the lens of character.
Yeah. All right, there's number one, lead with character. Strategy number two to help parents take action. Know your numbers.
Your numbers.
Hit on this a couple times. Strategy number two for helping parents take action is to know your numbers. And there's an action or two that could be really important that lead out of this. But tell us about this, Jake.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the numbers, I really want you to be tracking where you are this year in terms of camper recruitment and registration. And so a lot of you have that kind of your raw registration numbers, but we need to dive deeper into this. How many of those are returners? We already talked about your greatest recruitment strategy is retention, right? So we need to hit a certain
to know those rates.
Retention number in order to have higher recruitment, okay? And registration. And so looking at specifically these numbers, and so some of the benchmarks in the industry, to give you some numbers to put your head around this, I'm going to give you the number 65%. 65% as a really good benchmark goal for camper retention. That means the campers that were registered and signed up last summer, what percentage of them are signed up for this summer? That is the number that we're looking for. Not the percentage of your current campers that are returners, but the percentage from last summer who are signed up for this summer. So that forces you to look at the list of who came last summer and to know, are they registered or are they not? It's spring break, guys. It's March. This is the time where they should be registered already. These are the folks that said, we had a great time at camp. We're planning to come back. Okay. Have they taken that action? If not, why not? I need you to know the why not. And if you don't know the why not,
yeah, that's important.
Then really diving into this is an important strategy and a call to action for you. All right. So this is where we have to divide up our lists, right? We have to know who we're communicating with and not just sending one mass email. We need to be specific about
that's what this enables.
About these camper lists. And I'm going to pull a page out of Travis Allison's Camper Recruitment and Retention Playbook and really talk about these audiences so that we remember that we've got specific audiences. And one of those audiences is the not yet registered, the not yet enrolled audience is what he calls it. And so those are the people that have been to camp before and we're hoping and expecting that they will come back, but they're not yet enrolled. Who are those folks? You should have a list of those folks that not yet enrolled. And that's separate from those who are already coming this summer and are signed up, right? So it's separate recruitment strategies.
So here's how we do that, right? Here's one clear action for how we do that. And we know we'll move beyond general communications here because of course you want to speak to those people. And like Jake said, right, I guess we'll give two, right? If there's one call to action is segment your list and send messages to them specifically with language for that particular list. Two, and well, your friend, Travis's friend, Dan talks about this. And here's the action step that a lot lower percentage of us are actually doing. And that's this. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. A phone call to those, especially not yet enrolled, can be the key, most powerful thing that can happen, right? And some of that is the simple reality of, the abundance of emails that we're getting, the abundance of messages we're getting from wherever else, the abundance of opportunities in input, and almost none of them are picking up the phone and making phone calls. If you want your retention rate to give a range on this, right? Like 50% is kind of a floor. That's like a needs improvement. 80% is a great stretch. It's interesting we're going to talk in a little bit about the amount of parents that plan to send their kids back to camp. And it's a lot higher than any of these actually, which is an interesting juxtaposition of the numbers. We'll talk about this. But he's like a good stretch goal for you there. Dan's got, this story and a message he sent recently about a camp that did this exactly. Made 10 phone calls to parents each morning, right? And blew 80% out of the water with retention, right? The point was picking up the phone. The thing that made it happen was picking up the phone.
So personal. And this is even more so anymore, right? Because there's so many other
personal.
It's right? Counterculturally personal. And that's who we are at camp. And that's what I want to emphasize. Who are we? We are counterculturally personal, in person, in your face people.
That's
what camp does. We build these strong relationships in a culture that is getting more allergic to close relationships and wanting to separate and wanting to have that space, wanting to have an intermediary. And so picking up the phone it says a lot. It says, I care about you. And so I think this is a really, really awesome strategy, and I encourage all of you to adopt this. And so my friend Dan that Jared's referring to is none other than the Dan Weir of Immersive First and Day Camp Community. A lot of you know of him and his work. He does amazing work with those two organizations and does consulting with camps as well and presentations and keynotes. And this is one of the things that he really talks about in terms of camper retention and marketing. He's great with some of these marketing strategies. And so pick up the phone. It might be uncomfortable at first. It'll be more and more joyful as you have these conversations with parents. And it'll help you understand why some of them aren't registered yet. And so when we talk about this not yet enrolled group, and you make that phone call, and then you hear your camper had a poor time last summer. Hopefully this is not the first you're hearing about it. There's a lot of other strategies that we can adopt to make sure that this is not the first time we hear about some prank gone wrong or a whole cabin group that had a poor experience, right? We want to make sure we get ahead of those things and then follow up. And that's going to be part of that. This is the change that we made based on that feedback. And letting them know that in a personal way can be really important to them. But we've seen that you're not yet enrolled, and we're really hoping that you do, because we're getting really excited about camp this summer. Here's some of the changes and some of the updates we're making. Here's some of the things that are happening at camp right now, and we're really excited for your child to be present at camp this summer. We don't want them to miss out, right?
Yeah. All right, there's 2. Know your numbers and pick up the phone. Number 3, strategy number 3 is be creatively you.
Yes.
Be creatively you.
I love this one.
Especially nowadays, branding, marketing, identity, community identity that works is unique. We are not all the same, and that is really, really good. Right, so being creatively you matters here, and it's an incredibly important part of your storytelling. So tell us more. Why does this matter, Jake?
So, I mean, here's, as you're talking, even like we just got together with all these camp friends, from 15 camps at the Campwell gathering, and I've been to camps all over the country, and I can't tell you how many times I'll hear a camp leader say something like, "Well, we're not all that special. We do this, but I mean, like a lot of camps do that. What really sets us apart? I don't,
Yeah.
when they can't put their finger on that." And I'm like standing in this place and I'm like, look at this place. This is amazing. It's just like, there's so many cool things here. I remember when I was at Camp Stronghold in Illinois, and I was talking with their directors, and they're like, I mean, we're kind of in this flatland of Illinois. We don't have mountains. We don't have a lake. And I was like, you have a castle. You have an actual castle on your property. If you've ever been to Camp Stronghold, they have a legit castle that was built in the 1930s. And it's just really cool. They've got battlements, and they've got a great hall, suits of armor, secret passageways. And I'm like, it's sometimes hard to think about what we do that's really unique and special when we're just living it every day, and we've always been enmeshed in it. But there are those unique things that make you special. Celebrate those things, and make sure that the communications that you put out to people feature those things. And so be creatively you. What's your thing? And if you don't have your thing, then you might want to ask your staff members what your thing is, or your parents, your enthusiasts. Hey, I'm having trouble. What's our thing? What makes us really special? And then highlight those things. And really make it special. And so sometimes it's part of the recruitment thing. And so one of these camps that we work with in Livingston, Texas, a big camp down there, it's called Choye, and they do cookies. And Choye cookies are just the best. They've got this recipe. They make them right there in the kitchen. People love them when they come to camp. And when campers register for camp, they have this whole batch of cookies, and they specially package them, and they send these cookies out door to door to the registered families. And that's a special thing that's like, oh, the Choye cookies are here, right? And so what's one of those things for you? Is there a special song? Is there a special tradition? Is there a special baked good? Or is there a special thing from the camp store? What are some of those special things? Be creatively you in your communications, and help people really buy into what you do through the things that you send them, including the communications, but also the physical things that you send them. Another camp, again, creative camp, when campers register, they get a yard sign. You've seen those yard signs, not just for political ads, but for supporting the
we have one
local
for our
schools,
library. Yeah.
The library, the sports team. We've got one in our yard says "Go Red Hawks," right? It's the local school mascot.
Yeah, the
yard
seniors,
sign
the
saying,
senior class
I
gets
signed up for your camp. That's an easy way for you to market, but also to celebrate that this is something that I'm excited about going to camp. And so what's that thing for you? And what are those things for you that are super creative, that people love about you, that help remind them of your space?
Here's what we're going after. We're going after the statement, at my camp, right? This is my
Yes.
camp, right? Where
Yes.
they feel like a co-owner, right? They
It's my
feel
place.
so.
Yep, exactly.
We ask staff about this in some of the staff studies. So here's your foundational data point for this: 96%
Please.
of incoming camp staff agreed with the statement, "Camp feels like home." Right.
Yes.
So this is like these are people who had either been campers or maybe they worked on staff previously, and they said, "Oh yeah." Almost all of them said, "Camp feels like home." Right,
Camp
and that's
feels
what
like home.
we
Yeah.
want to create that. So Jake was starting to give some of these examples. So here's the clear action step: give them something that is on brand. Right. I mean, he was giving some of those examples, right? Connected to your thing. Give them something that's on brand. Equip them with something, ideally, literally something physical.
Yes.
But give them something that's on, that is on brand, that is you, that is connected to your identity. Organizations that are good marketers do this well. I even remember this with our friends from Tic Tac Toe. Right, we got to this. Tic Tac Toe. They work with a bunch of camps on marketing and things like that. And we got to do you remember this conversation? We got to their table. We were both displaying, and we had we had some great stuff. We had stickers, and we had Sacred Playgrounds books, and we had Holy Ground. And we went over to Tic Tac Toe, and everybody went cool because they had Tic Tac Toe boards. Like the name of the organization is Tic Tac Toe Marketing, and they had little Tic Tac Toe boards that everybody got as they went to the table. So these things that are on point, that are on brand, give your people, give your enthusiasts, give your participants something that's on brand.
Yes, absolutely. And you want them to feel like they're home. And when they arrive on your property, I remember, camp staff reunions when they would come onto the property and I would be able to give them a big hug and say, welcome home. I want them to feel like it's their home. And I want the campers to feel like that. I want the parents to feel like they're coming back to a place that's safe, that's secure, and that's a special place for them. And so how can you help them feel at home?
Mm-hmm.
This is both a recruitment strategy, but it's also a retention strategy. And it's
For
also
sure.
an experience strategy. So when the campers and when the parents feel comfortable in your space, the camper is going to have a better experience. And that's going to help them have more significant outcomes during the camp week when they have a better experience. And so you're curating the experience for the camper and for the parents in these months leading up to camp. What are those special things that are real call outs to the experience that is to come, and callbacks to experiences for those returners that they've already had, that gets them excited about coming and prepares them for the experience? That's going to help your registration, your retention, your recruitment, and importantly, your mission and outcomes.
Amen. Number 4, prioritize presence. Prioritize presence. We know camp thrives in person, right? Our models are in-person models, right? It is the things that we have pounded the table here for camp. I'll see how loud that ended up on this poor microphone, but we have pounded the table on this, that presence, that in-person matters at camp. So prioritizing presence, when we say that, know that we don't mean just on site. Of course. In order to lead these parents to register, recruit, retain, we need to prioritize presence with them.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we are in-person people. We tried virtual camp. Remember that? We tried virtual camp during the COVID days. It was terrible. Nobody wanted it. And then some of us tried to keep that as like an option. And then I don't know that any camp kept that, because the reason we come to camp is to be with each other and to be in one another's presence. Our digital communication is important only as a reminder and a callback to that important place and that important presence. And so presence matters. We know this. And so why are we trying to do so much recruitment online and thinking that we can just do it virtually? Making sure that you're getting out there, that you're on the road in people's spaces is incredibly important. And also giving them opportunities to come to your space. And so if you don't do camp orientation days, camp tour days, please put these on the schedule. Give them a chance to come out and to see the space. What does a cabin look like? What does a tent look like if you use tents? What does the dining hall look like? Who are some of the staff? Have some of your summer staff there. Offer tours. It'll help the parents relax. It'll help close the deal with some of those that are thinking about it but not sure quite if they want to come. So do those things in person at your camp. And of course, offer the virtual tours. Of course, offer the virtual tours online, because not everybody's going to be able to come, right? So having your staff
parent
members,
meetings,
yes, walk them
There's
through
a couple
the space.
Camps that have thrived in these parent meeting things. We heard that from our friends at Luther Crest. They've loved.
I love it.
That's one of the things that they kind of kept going, like that lasted. They had this preparatory parent meeting. So yes,
do all those things, and then also importantly, deploy your staff. Get out into those spaces.
Yeah, we've talked
what
about
spaces, you ask? What spaces? Where do I go? You know these spaces. You can identify them because you have your list of campers and families that are registered from last summer and that are already registered for this summer. And you can see, and I see some of our camps are celebrating this. Like, here's the top 10 churches in terms of numbers of kids that are coming from each church. You know what churches are really good because they have enthusiasts there and they're really good at recruiting campers. Have you been to those churches in person? And if not, why not? Set up a day, get out there, celebrate with the families that are already registered. So you've got those people that are your enthusiasts that are already coming. You can help prep them for the year, tell them what's coming. You can meet prospective families that are thinking about sending their kid and recruit more campers that way. And you can keep developing and lean into those relationships of people who have been your volunteers, who have maybe had campers in the past, but the campers have aged out, and those that are not yet registered, not yet enrolled, that have come in years past, but are like, ooh, I don't know if it fits in the schedule this year. Getting that FaceTime is a really valuable way to close the deal. So go into your churches. What about your schools? What school districts have the most campers signed up? Do you know the administration of those schools? Are you partners with them? Do they know you as a trusted partner? If not, why not? Those are the schools that should be coming out to your site during the spring when they're doing field days, when they're doing an outdoor education experiment, things like that.
Environmental ed.
Are you getting in front of those schools, knowing that a large portion of our campers come from these schools, so that when they come, there will be campers together with their classmates. And also think about events and sporting events at the school where you could be present and you could meet with some of the parents there, again, in the bleachers, in the stands of some of those things. So think about those spaces as spaces for in-person interaction with the families, the parents, the kids themselves. Those can be incredibly valuable opportunities. And so I think this is one to really think about, prioritizing presence.
Yeah, we know camp is an unplugged place, right? It's part of the fundamentals. We know, like our we've shared before. So to give it a little statistic to it, that we know, like, this is a huge agreement in parents, highest agreement regularly in parents, that camp and everything around it, yes, the experience itself, but everything around it is a place to unplug. Right, to do this, right? Another way to say that is to prioritize presence, to prioritize in person. And so your call to action is to show up, right? Your clear call to action is to show up. You find a few of these key places, right? And if you're doing some of this, great, right? Of course, lots of you are doing, church visits in some way. These church visits, let me say it like this: like your church visits, your presence at key community events, your presence with schools, your time building partnerships takes priority over administration and logistics. They have to take priority. And if they can't, because XYZ doesn't get done, you have a board conversation that you need to have, right? If you're not able to do this, because the scale's sliding then, right? It's not plateau, it's downhill from there without this. So if you find yourself, and I feel like I'm saying this because I keep hearing this, oh, I really wanted to go, to these church visits, but I have to I got to cook for the retreat. I've got to, get this email sent. I've got all these logistical things that get in the way of prioritizing presence. It's hard for camps and it's not sustainable. So we got to show up.
Absolutely.
Number 5.
Prioritize presence, friends.
Number 5. And this brings a lot of these to a head. So number 5, create pathways to ever deepening relationships. Create pathways to ever deepening relationships. Last summer, we get done with the summer, and 95% of parents said they are likely to send their kid back to this camp
Isn't
in
that
future
crazy?
years. It's great.
95%.
Yeah.
That's incredible. They said, yes, I'm going to send my kid
Yeah.
again.
Right. Right. And so, of course, that says a lot about their experience. It'd be great if we were hitting, 95% retention numbers and then growing beyond there. We talked about this and we said we were going to circle back to this, right? 95% don't end up sending their kid, right? If things are going really well, 80 or so percent, hopefully plus, might send their kid. 65% of them is really solid.
Yeah.
But we have that
That's our
many,
benchmark.
that are planning on it. So of course we know things come up. It's why retention is an all-year strategy, is an all-the-time strategy. It's why recruitment is an all-the-time strategy, right? And these things are really rolled together. We've got that many that want to send their kid. The goal, the point of a bunch of what we're saying is that you are trying to create a pathway to an ever-deepening relationship with these parents, with these key constituents. So that means every opportunity for connection with them, every communication, every in-person thing that we were just talking about has to contain a path intentionally to this ever-deepening relationship. A lot of times that means you don't send out a communication piece that doesn't have a clear action step or 3, right? A next thing for them to do, a way for them to get to go deeper, right? That is nice, that is clear. We've talked about that with how to use data with folks, right? Because we know when we add stats to stories, when we add numbers to narrative, that creates really powerful stories. But right in the slides that we created, Jake, when we were doing these workshops, we added one thing, and that thing was an easy action step to take. Right? Not just that you're telling this story. We're telling this story, and then we want you to go deeper with us. We want you to take this action. We want you to do this next. So all of these things are pathways to an ever deepening relationship with these parents.
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the things to really think about, and this is where these numbers put these numbers next to each other, and you say, the week after camp, 95% of parents say, I'm going to send my kid back to this camp. And now we get to March, April, and 60% of them are registered. What happened in that time? Have we been in communication with those parents? What has been our communication? What has been the deepening relationship? Or is it just we want them to sign up again? Because that's not a relationship, right? That's a transaction. We're not after a transaction.
Correct.
We want them to register because we believe in the power and the mission of our programs and our ministries. We want to have an impact on their kids. We want to help them build character so that they can strengthen this world and be disciples of Jesus Christ in this world. That's what we're here for, right? We want to strengthen these families. We want to strengthen the communication among these families. We want to strengthen our churches. This is what we're there for. We're not here to get them to click register. So how are we making sure that the experience of camp, that week, that 2-week session, is only part of a much larger cycle and relationship?
It strikes me that the registration itself isn't about registration. It's about a pathway to ever deepening relationship, right? This step of, we're going to sign up, but actually the point, it's part of the path to ever deepening relationship. So in your, again, structuring your communications, the things that you say when you are in front of your board, the things that you say when you get in front of your constituents at an annual meeting, your emails, the structure of your website, think about those things. Apply this idea of top to bottom. As somebody reads through something or hears something, apply this. Apply an ever deepening relationship. Right? Go from big to small and them, and then clear action in all of these things. You want to know what the your words are going to be, your speech should look like? It should look like this. It should look like a pathway to an ever deepening relationship with them.
You want to be a partner. You want parents to see you as a partner and as an indispensable partner, as something that we need this as part of our lives. This is an important part of who we are as a family and about our yearly experience. Attending your camps, your retreats, your family camps, your programming, having you come to us, it's all part of this big relationship that we have with you and your space and your staff and your people. And we see ourselves as your people. That's where the home piece comes in, right? Camp is like home.
Yeah. Amen.
We want them to feel that way. And so creating these pathways involves, thinking through the story and the journey. It's not a customer journey, right? It's a partner journey. It's an accompaniment. How are we accompanying these families and these children year round? And what is the value added that we're giving to them before we're asking them to click register? Because we don't want them to feel like it's transactional. Even if in our heads we're saying, "Oh, it's not transactional." How does it feel to them? Is it just another thing to register for or to buy a ticket for their kid?
Right.
We see ourselves as something much deeper than that. So make that clear in your communications and your strategies.
Amen. Let's recap. There's our 5. Number 1, lead with character. To do that, add character fun and even unplugging to your communications and your connection opportunities. 2, know your numbers, right? And after you know those numbers, pick up the phone to take action, based on those numbers. 3, be creatively you. Give them something, put something in their hands and their heads and their hearts that is on brand, that is you. 4, prioritize presence. And to do that, we have to show up. And 5, create pathways to ever deepening relationships. So every opportunity for connection, we build that as a pathway and give them a pathway to a next step, to a deeper relationship with you in your community.
Mm-hmm.
Those things, those strategies and the accompanying action steps are designed to do these, to bring it back 3 things. Because what we're hoping is that they take these 3 key actions. So a reminder of what those are. We want them to register. Yes, of course. We want them to click that button. We want them to recruit, right? We want to equip them to be the ones that tell your story, and we want to retain them. And we want that number at the end of the summer when we ask parents, how likely are you to recommend this camp to other people? We want that number to be nice and high, and that's our stat of the week.
Stat of the week. Stat of the week. Stat of the week.
All right. The stat of the week this week is 97%. 97% of parents agree at the end of the camp experience that they are likely to recommend camp to a friend or a family member. This is an incredibly high statistic as we think about parent satisfaction, as we think about their intentions as they go away. The question that I have is, are you equipping them to do this? Are you reminding them of how wonderful the camp experience was? Or is it just a one-time experience that if it comes up in conversation at the ballpark, I'll recommend a camp? But are we empowering them to bring it up in conversation and to go out of their way to recruit? So 97% of your camper parents say they're likely to recommend camp to a friend or family member. Do you know your number? 1, are you gathering this information? And 2, what are you doing about it? And how are you equipping and empowering those parents to take action?
Amen. Thanks, Jake. All right, we will list these out. You see them here. We'll make sure to drop some of these links and things we've talked about as usual in the show notes, along with that 97% stat of the week, and then share away. Right, make sure that you are putting this in someone's hands. Maybe it's people on your staff. We know lots of you are having conversations with this over staff meetings or one-on-ones or things like that. So that's great. Keep putting this in other people's hands. We encourage you big time. Like the last couple episodes, we've been hearing maybe even more about that from people that, we shared this with our board, right? A lot shared like the enrollment episode, for example, the enrollment cliff episode. I shared that with my board. I shared this with my staff. So can we just give you an encouragement to do that? To keep doing that, to pass these on when they're helpful, to put them in other people's hands. That's helpful. Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. Remember, parents are your partners. So partner with them, walk alongside them in this journey, and they will be your partners in the recruitment and registration game as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not transactional. It's you walking alongside them and building that relationship and making it and inviting them into a deeper relationship.
Summer's almost here, everybody. Hope things are going well. Reach out if you just need someone to talk to about how things are going, or you need some help with something. We'd love to connect. And thanks for listening to the Sacred Playgrounds podcast. Hey, Jared, back with you quick. You heard us say a couple times on this episode that you just listened to the term why camp? Why camp, right? That's a question that lots are asking. And so we wanted to share with you quickly something that we built to answer that question, right? So we built a tool called exactly that. It's called Y Camp. And the point of Y Camp is to equip those enthusiasts like those that we talked about. And that might be church partner leaders, that might be other parents, that might be board members. The idea is that you, as a camp leader, can take this tool and use it to equip your enthusiasts. It is full of key ideas and phrases, as well as the stats to back them up, that will do what we've been talking about in this episode and help parents take action. Right. So it's a tool that you can customize, that you can brand according to your camp, and it is available right now in our Sacred Playgrounds camp store. Just head to sacredplaygrounds.com/store and you can directly download a Y Camp today. Thanks for listening to the Sacred Playgrounds podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to catch every new episode. If this is helpful for you and your organization and your team, follow the link in the show notes to become a supporter of the podcast. Our theme music was written and performed by Weekend Picnic. Find their original songs anywhere you get your music, or visit them at weekendpicnicband.com. Sacred Playgrounds is generating insights, equipping leaders, and connecting partners to help camping ministries thrive. Learn more about what we've got going on, view current research projects, and connect with our team at sacredplaygrounds.com.